Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. Welcome to Apex Online Racing. My name is Evil Dragon, and you are, of course, watching GT3 Tier 1 PS4. And now you may have been wondering, I've been having a few new commentators recently. Well, guess who I've gone and got? Here you can see him in the bottom right. He's got the director indicator on it. We're going old school. We'll call it a very much raw reunion. It is the one, the only, my beautiful, one-of-a-kind Vectro. It's Vectro. Hello.
Hello everybody, grand entry. I'm back. I'm not on the track today. I'm not here to finish 10th maximum again. I'm here to give lovely commentary on this lovely race here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. This will probably be a one-off. Maybe I'll be back in the car next race again, but I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, it's kind of like old times, isn't it?
It very much is. Old times. Last time we commented GT3, it was a long time ago.
2 seasons ago, I think, because I also raced last season. So I think it was now 2 seasons ago.
Well, we're just getting ready for everyone to ready. We have 15 drivers. We are missing a few of them, which is a real shame, as you can see there as well. Now, in terms of the championship actually, we'll go through that in a little bit once we get into the server. But from everything's looking, it's got to be looking good for Ethan right now as you come into the second part of the season.
Yeah, definitely. Let me actually check the standings while I'm at it, otherwise I'm not
third in the
familiar with the standings.
And only just behind his teammate Wolf, and like you got to say, it is the championship leader right now, which of course is Gaza, who leads by a whopping 47 points. Now that is, if you're wondering, almost one win and I think second place he's got over the rest of the field. So absolutely stonking amount of points ahead of the rest of the field. So he's going to be the man to beat this race, isn't he? If they can start closing him in, then that will really close the championship up as we come into the last, 4 rounds after this.
There are 3 rounds after this. This is round 7 out of 10. Yeah, actually, Gaza, look at his last. All of his results actually really good and also consistent. 5th, 3rd, 1st, 2nd and 1st. So he won last race as well at Sugo. He's done really well consistently, and if he can get a podium here, certainly he's one step closer to the trophy. But it's not over yet, of course. Anything can still happen. And we've seen how mixed it actually all is. Because even I managed to get a podium at one race, which is impossible normally.
Yeah, the crazy Catalonia, if I'm not mistaken. A race that will go down in infamy for me disconnecting and then issues. But it was a good race, apparently, according to everyone else. So that was good. Now, Vector, you've had a up and down season. How this season have you found it compared to other seasons in terms of the competitiveness?
For me personally, it's definitely a lot tougher. I must say. I'm in 9th position in the championship. Well, I must say my best position next to my 3rd position is 10th. So I've not been able to get in well inside the top 10 yet. But I've got my hopes up on Bathurst because. I will drop back a bit maybe because of me doing commentary today, but it almost gives me a kind of a head start at Bathurst if I fall back too much. But of course, first we got Fuji, so I've still got my hopes up. I can get some good positions, but yeah, it's definitely a lot tougher than last season.
Yeah, last season of course was a season which I remember fondly for having quite a lot of battles and up and down races, and of course this season we've had drivers that have come from tier 4, tier 5, and they've, well, especially like Wolf, he's really impressed me. The Mercedes, of course, probably if not arguably the strongest car of the season. Well, it was last season, as I all remember. ESR, the Schmidt and Infect dominated that season, but Mercedes had a little bit of a tough time this season, of course, with the the late great Archie, of course, who had to unfortunately pull out of the championship due to reasons that we cannot go into. But it's always a shame to see drivers like that pulling out, but really has just let that Mercedes pull away.
Yeah, the Mercedes are now, the top three are all Mercedes. Gassa in first, Wolf in second. He's like the surprise of the season because he came from a really low tier, and even in third. So, the next Mercedes after that, it's Gonna Gamble, if I'm correct.
Yeah, Gonna Gamble all the way down there as well. So, in terms of the championship, Petro, we'll go read through it now then.
Yeah, it's Gassa in first position with 188 points. Wolf in second, like I said, with 141. Ethan in third with 134. It's S. Clark in fourth position with 93 points. Archil, he's not racing anymore, I think, but he's got 73 points. Is still strong in fifth position. Gonna Gamble is in sixth with 68 points, and with 66 points, really close behind him, is Scald, my teammate. Papano is in 57, and me and I are in 9th position with 52. Swans is in 10th, also with 52 points, 45 points for Big Kid Daddy in 11th. Rob Knox is in 12th with 40 points, 34 points for Sean Cool, which is Cool Vip, one of the SBR boys. Camo is in 14th with 38 points, Pren in 15th, Ben Milden in 16th, Jan Rosberg in 17th because he changed his car, and
Jazzman.
Yeah, Jazzman, yeah. The normal ID wasn't there, so I was kind of thinking, yeah, Jazzman is in the last position with 0 points.
Yeah, because he pulled out of the season right at the beginning. Now, let's go through this circuit. A circuit that first entered life, really, in 2000. This is, of course, the old Formula 1 venue as well, as Skull does some gymkhana. This here, you can see the chicane, which I absolutely despise, because I've gone and flipped it there about 82,000 times. Horrible little bumps. Now, of course, this track vector, it's changed quite a lot from its original version. In terms of the circuit layout, do you prefer this layout? I mean, do you prefer the old one?
I certainly prefer the old one. Just the banking on the end is worth gold. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to see the cars coming through there, but of course they had to change it because of safety regulations. But anyway, this is still a really great circuit. You can see, actually, Pren changed his car as well to the Ferrari.
Yeah, he's now in the Ferrari there, so from McLaren to Ferrari, so, well, and he's getting out the way, I believe. That might be, oh,
no, bunching up. Skull's coming through.
Skull, that's Papano. That was that side by side. So Papano and Pren getting a bit too close to cover. Now, I'm wondering what happened there. They've rather ruined each other's laps there, and that would have upset Skull there, because that's affected him as well. In the background there, you can see one of the Mercedes there. I think that might be Wolf, or is it Ethan? It might be Ethan or Wolf, one of the two.
It's both of them.
Yeah, the pair of them there down at the straight then. Behind them there, one of the other Mercedes as well. Big Kid Daddy in the background as well. So Daddy to turn number one, late on the brakes there, about third, second gear. Daddy to turn number one, a tricky right handle, and you've really got to just get on the throttle, but it's difficult. You want to get on the throttle, but the car wants to step out, led into this almost tricky little down double right handler. You turn in, then you have to step on the brakes and then turn in again into the chicane. Should be quite easy in these GT cars to mount those curbs, though you can run wide here. There is the quarter-mile drag strip there on the left, where we of course see all of the drag racing. I love to see, of course, if you're a Gran Turismo fan, you'll remember that one. Down on the brakes, down into this little tricky left, right, left complex. That's where the double hairpin used to be back in 2008 and before. Exiting that into what would have now been the old banking. Well, not really old because they still use it, of course. The banking predating up until 1911. They go onto it now and then suddenly chuck on the brakes into what is the MotoGP area, actually, by the way. It was added for motorbikes, this little area of the circuit, into what is almost necessarily a very long riding section, a difficult left-hander, and into this long right-hander, which in some cases are worse than the banking bit because it just really wants to pull the car into a spin, doesn't it?
Yeah, and understeer was a problem for Wolf there because he almost went into the wall and he had to slow down a bit. He's currently in 4th position. Six people have now set a lap time. Still early days though. Gaza is the one who sets the early pace with a 1:24.4. Even close behind, 83 thousandths is the difference. And Clark up to P3 now, and Swans up to P4. That's really surprising in the Bentley. That's a really great lap already for Swans.
Yeah, he's flying in the Bentley, so good to see the giant boat doing its job. Well, it's hard to call it a boat, but it is very big, and well, you can clearly see the size difference. It's a very odd-looking car, but sometimes the oddest things go really quick, and that's very sideways. Now, that's probably not what the Bentley wants to do. It likes being stable, not getting thrown around like that. So Squats is currently P4 in the positions there. Only 124.8, only 4 tenths off of Gaza. That, I must say, actually, like you mentioned, a stonking lap from a car which has been relatively very poor this season.
It has been, yeah. He's behind me. That says a lot. But anyway, yeah, he's not at the best seasons yet. Just bad luck overall. But anyway, he's going back to 7th now. But still, that was really quite a good lap from him. Scott at the P2 now, by the way, yeah. 5 tenths, and he's going quicker.
He is going quicker. Now, we literally mentioned just a second ago how he was in P4. Now he's in P8 now. His guys are up to P1 there. So the real time setters, Clark in P2 then. The Lamborghini doing a good job then. So the Lambo P2. Let's see anyone else on a lap time. Scold right now coming through the back of the circuit. The Honda working well today. Now, let's see, what can it do? Can it round the lap up, of course? 1/10 up, so he is currently, should be staying P3, counting no one else behind him, improves. Expecting Ethan and Wolf definitely should be able to improve. Skull through the last couple of corners. Let's see, what can he do? A few other people improve. SBR improves there up to P5. Rosberg in P6. Here comes Skull for the last corner. Then the Honda, 1.8 litres in the tank, comes to the line then. A long run then, let the car run out just the wall. Might have lost a bit of time there on the exit. Does improve that by only 43 thousandths in the end. Back to the pit lane he will come. Pano currently in P4 in the Ferrari there, so doing very good as well.
Going even quicker.
Yeah, Gaz up even quicker. Clark in P2, Scold in P3. What about Rosberg? What about Ethan and Wolf? Well, there they are. Wolf 3, Ethan 4. And there's your answer. They have not managed to match yet.
2 thousandths of a difference and 20 thousandths of a difference to Scott. They're all so close to each other. Look at that.
Clark improves to a 123.7 in the meantime there, so he improves. What about Rosberg? That's the question I'm looking at. Where is he? He's just crossed the line now, up to P3. Up to P3. That is what he needs to do then. The Audi in its second race. It retired from the first due to an issue with Scold. There you can see that layer on of the... That's one of the other SBR cars off, I think that's true. Must be P8 off the road into the last corner. Milderman that. Spun it, I think, on the inside. I just noticed it there on the outboard cam. Corvette P9 right now, and Milderman is going to be staying in P8.
That's certainly not an improvement. Indeed, yeah, like you said, Jan Rosberg now up to P3 in the Audi. It takes some getting used to. He was really fast in the Porsche, but he decided, well, if it was a smart decision, that's out of opinions, but he decided he wants to do the rest of the season in the Audi, even though he had a strong position in the championship. He's now got potential to go up to the pole position now. If he can get another 10th, he can actually match Gas's lap time. So let's see what he can do in the final sector.
Now he's got Scold up ahead of him here, so, and then one of the other cars. So Scold burning up for another lap. That might just pit him up, but I think he'll get away with it then through the last corner. Here comes Rosberg. Can he get himself up onto that front row? Or will it be the second row for the time being? He was over a 10th and a half up. Does he improve? Cross the line? Yes, it is pole.
The pole position.
And a brilliant last sector then from Jan Rosberg in the Audi, beating Gaza, and I wasn't expecting that one. Now, can Gaza, crucially for him, he's on his lap. Now, can he retaliate and retake it? And oh no, he's got a penalty. Rosberg, penalty, and qualifying. There you can see it. One great grid penalty, and I've gone and done it, haven't I? I've cursed him. Can he retaliate? Well, he doesn't have to, because he's got himself a one-place grid penalty when you least don't want it. What has happened there?
I think he might have sped in the pit lane or done something else naughty.
He had to have sped in the pit lane. There's no other way of saying it. I don't know how he's done that there, but again, a crucial mistake from Rosberg, the man who has made a critical mistake last time out of trying to avoid Sculdalo. That was almost a racing incident in some cases. A very odd mistake indeed last week. But this week, of course, he has now just got to try and win this race. He needs to try and get his championship in order and really upset these guys up front. And this penalty isn't going to work.
In 4 races. In 4 races, it's going to be really tough to retaliate in the point standards because he's all the way in last.
Yeah, he is. Well, right now, we've got a few people improving their lap times. Here comes Clark, by the way, in the Lamborghini. So right now, it's Audi, Mercedes, Lamborghini. That's your top 3. That's a very odd grid. I haven't seen that for a long, long time. Then comes a Ferrari, then the other Mercedes.
It's a mixed up grid, isn't it?
It very much is. I mean, Race of F1 was like this, but it's not. Well, this is better than F1. GT racing also is the best kind of racing because it's so close. And I mean, look at the gap. I mean, you're thinking Wolf and Ethan are 1/1000ths. I repeat, 1/1000ths separated. That is how close those two are. Forget the Mercedes and F1 separate 6/1000ths, 1/1000th, and then 20,000 between those and Skuld. So fair play to Skuld. The Honda right now, veteran, you must kind of be feeling about how it would have been feeling out there as Skuld goes off the road. He's doing well.
He's doing really well, yeah. A good 7th position so far. So hopefully he can keep that though. But anyway, Mildeman is only 1/10 behind him. Exactly 1/10 even, but he makes a mistake through there. That's not going to be an improvement, I'm afraid.
Yeah, small mistakes there. Cool Vip in the other BMW, not really living up to Archill's time.
See if Brent can improve, or is he just coming through the final lap to start a lap?
I think he might be. We'll see. He's got 10 litres in the tank, so he's going for 1 or 2 quick runs and 3 minutes to go in qualification. And there you can see Papani going out of the way. Big Kid Daddy, meanwhile, down in 11th of the 13 runners here in qualifying. Rob Noxio's at the back, 2.6 seconds off the pace.
The same lap time as Swans, by the way.
Yeah.
They both did a 1:24.660.
Exactly, and meanwhile, Pren is exactly 2 seconds off the pace, which is... I like when they do this, when numbers are exactly... Meanwhile, by the way, Ethan has gone and beat his teammate Wolf, by the way. My apologies, not Skull. By just a couple of attempts there now, as Wolf now in P6, Ethan in P5. But you can see Rob Noxious having a bad day in the office. He seems to be really struggling down there. 13, 6 attempts off his nearest rival, as well as Pren over at 6 attempts, 7 attempts off of Big Kid Daddy. Those two struggling.
We're down to 13, I think. Or did we have 13?
Yeah, we did. 2 didn't show, of course, and you, of course, who currently did show, but is in the commentary box.
Even, by the way, 2 thousandths behind Papano. He can still get that position if he can nail a lap. Like, it's he can still get 4th position. I don't think it's gonna be this lap, but
no, it won't be this lap because he does that, and that's not even to see Vacho making a small mistake into the last couple of corners. Through comes Ethan, then into the last long right hander. This corner, a difficult one, like we mentioned, because of the traction. It's a flat corner as well, slightly banked on the exit due to it coming onto the banking. Ethan crosses the line, doesn't improve. He was 2 turns down on that lap. Papana right now in P4. You would very much like to improve, although I think this lap is going to be a build-up lap for his next flying lap. He'll have 1, maybe 2 laps more if he can get it out. He should have another lap after this one if he wants to go for it. Papana now begins what will be his penultimate lap in qualifying. Gaza in the Mercedes would very much like a pole position right now on merit, because I feel he's a little bit worried right now at Rosberg's pace. Can he get polar is the question.
Not this lap, yeah. Maybe next one. Actually, Rosberg right in front of him.
The 28 right in front. Just as I was saying, I was about to mention that, Venture, and he took the words out of my mouth.
Big Daddy off, but he's returns to the pit lane.
And qualifying over for him then. Clark and Scold together. They'll have one lap after this one then. And right now, Scold's kind of held up a little bit behind Clark there. So this isn't ideal for Scold. Dirty air, of course, not too big of a thing, but it will start affecting the car. And you can see Scold, the rear end, stepping out there. Doesn't look very comfortable through there. Runs it right out to the wall. Straight line. Down towards the line. And he does not improve there. And he's flashes light, thanking Clark for getting out of the way behind him there. One of the Ferraris as well. So Scold are now building up on his lap. Gazza on his lap. Runs a little bit wide there. That'll cost him a bit of time. And he's got ahead. He has got ahead of Rosberg. So, let's see. Through the last couple of corners, can Gazza get pole position then? Outright, though he will have it by technicality due to the penalty that Rosberg does have, of course. Can Gazza snap pole then? He has 13 seconds across the line. He'll need to do that. He'll have one more in the bank if he wants it. Can he go pole? No, he cannot, but he has one more attempt, Vectro.
Yeah, and so has Jan, but he's quite close to him, so maybe Dirty will play a role there. Scott did not improve. He only needed 21 thousandths, but was not able to finish it. Anyway, SBR Cool is now coming to the line. Is he going to improve? He doesn't need a lot to improve on his position, though, to beat the other SBR.
Does do so. P6. P6 then. So beats Wolf, beats Skull. That is a surprise there. The Z4 working well now then. So now he's got the car hooked up. He's done well. Prince backed off his lap. So a rating of Papano, Gazza and Rosberg. And the first of these guys will be Papano then. He's coming through the last couple of corners. Looks pretty decent in the Ferrari. Late on the brakes, down into second gear. Nice and easy through here. Down to the last corner then. In to the right. Couple of corners and then into the final long right hander then. Let's see, can the Ferrari, he's currently P4, needs to find 2 attempts to get himself into P3. Can he beat Clark? Then let's see, Ferrari, can he beat the Lamborghini? The answer to that is no, he cannot. So now all eyes are on Gazza and Rosberg. Rosberg's backed over his lap, so it's down to Gazza. Can he officially secure pole position then, or will it be just on the count that the penalty is? The answer to that is no, because he backs up 4 into the line, so we'll never find out. So, Gaz on pole position then, and Rosberg in P2 then, due to that one-place grid penalty.
So yeah, Gaz are not being able to string the best lap together, but we are going to see a really beautiful battle here between 5 manufacturers even. We have an Audi, a Mercedes, a Lamborghini and a Ferrari, but also a Z4 and a Bentley, a potential Acura.
And a Bentley. We have a Bentley there, don't forget. Poor Bentley, I mean, although it's probably... Yeah, there might not be as possible with Bentley, but anything can happen in GT3. And as I always normally say, it very much will do, because I'll probably curse everyone. That is not a prediction, it's a foreshadowing. So, a prediction as well. But anyway, Rob Knox is there, he's 13th position there. He has not had the best of the season. He was it 2.6 seconds off pole? He is not having the best start of this season, but of course, Vetcher, it can be difficult sometimes when you're in this tier, a tier such as this, where the driving standard is quite high. Although a few incidents did happen, we're not looking at a certain driver called Scold crashing, but it has been very consistent. No real very big mistakes.
No, definitely. I think the most drivers have been pretty consistent over the season, but also some drivers have also been quite inconsistent. Like with some surprises, especially on the podium. But anyway, I think that Bentley today can be springing up a surprise. You can just see. You can read the letters from here. That's how big that Bentley is, and it's towering above every other car.
Yeah, it very much does. It's a towering car for what is probably going to be a very intriguing race. 13 drivers ahead of us. 41 laps. I think we're just getting ready then for the formation lap to begin. I see a few cars just finishing off their setups, etc., the race strategy. You can see them popping down into the grid when they press the ready button. So, at this point in the race, Vetro, as a driver, how is your nerves? Do they skyrocket at this point, or is it really when the formation lap ends?
It's really when the formation lap ends. Normally you just get ready for everything. You ready up everything, and when everything is readied up, you just press start. And you get some nerves when these lights come on, because then you know it's about to happen. They just wait a bit, like these cars are doing right now, and they just slowly drive off one after the other. And but the nerves really start at the end of the formation lap. That's when the nerves really start to kick in.
Indeed, good to see all your comments down in the chat, by the way. We'll be keeping an eye in on all that. Of course, yes, as a few people mentioned, we have lost Archie. He had to pull out of the league, unfortunately, due to personal reasons. But we, of course, all wish drivers the best in terms of difficult times. And I do hope, and I feel very heartily for Archie, and hope, because he is okay and everything is going to be okay. And hope he does return next season. And whenever he does, it'll be a very good sight to behold. Well, right now, though, we have 13 drivers all ready to go broom broom. And let's see. Gaza, Rosberg, Clark, Papano, Ethan, Kulvip, Wolf, Scold, Milderman, Squalsby, Kid Daddy. Behind them, Pren. And then comes Rob Noxious. Down into turn number 1, Vettel. It's a tricky right-hander. Do you think we're going to see incidents down there? Because it's very easy to make a mistake there.
It's hard to say. I don't want to say I'm expecting incidents, because these guys know how to drive. They know how to avoid those incidents. But of course, it's a tricky corner. It's easy for someone to be caught out, and that can definitely cause a major incident. But let's not foreshadow things.
Let's not dwindle on that one and do what I normally do. But anyway, let's get ready to go then into this tricky last corner. They come then, and now this is where they go 2 by 2. To be honest though, the man on the outside through this last corner is going to be really the one who has kind of the best advantage here, because he'll have a little more speed down the straight, because the inside will have to compromise himself. But let's see if Rosberg can do it, though we expect that Mercedes will most likely go very much away immediately off the line, but I've been wrong. Usually we are, but here we go then. The line is just ahead, and when the man drops the flag, we'll be racing. You can see them all ready to go in the background, and we are racing then. It's immediately a good start from the Mercedes, just like I thought we might see them. Down towards turn number 1 then, the 2-3 abreast. Rosberg's been absolutely swamped there in the background there. Down to 4th position there on the inside there. Clark and Papano through turn 1. Is everything nice and clean through there? I think a bit of contact there. One of the Mercedes, I thought. Maybe a bit of contact, but everyone clean away through, crucially into turn number 1. Good start from Gazas, Clark, Papano, Ethan, Wolf, and bad start like we mentioned there. I think contact there between Milderman and Scold ever so slightly there, but crucially for Gaza, he got away, and a shocking start from Rosberg.
Yeah, look at Clark now up to P2 and Papano up to P3. Rosberg all the way down to P5.
Yeah, shocker, he just didn't get the car hooked up. Seemed to be in the wrong gear. Just something was amiss there, but did not get the car in the right gear and just dropped straight down the field. That is what I feared might happen. He's had that before as well, and he was driving in the, of course, in the Porsche a few races ago, and it's happened again. Meanwhile, here's an interesting battle. Honda versus a Lamborghini, and these two very close there in the foreground. One car hits the wall, and I think that might be Wolf who's topped the wall there. And I think he got away with it there just about. Yes, it was. Luckily, no damage dealt there. End of the first lap then. Gaza leads.
Car off.
Car in the pits.
I think someone is in the pits.
Rosberg. Yeah, Rosberg. So he's doing it again then. So he hasn't got damage. He's decided he wants to get out of it, then go to the end of the race. And this is the second time he's done this recently. He likes doing that move. And we'll see what he can do then. So Gaza, Clark, Papano. That's your top 3. Then comes Ethan and Wolf. So those two making positions up as well. And now you've got to wonder, is any of these drivers going to try and come in early, get some clean air, and then do what Rosberg's doing?
That might be pretty smart, because if you see, everybody is so bunched up right now, and that costs everybody time. But look at Clark's pace. That's really surprising in the Lamborghini. The Lamborghini is really well suited for this track, because he's haunting the back of Gasser here. And Gasser started to struggle.
Now, Gaz is struggling now for whatever reason. I was talking to Ethan earlier on. He said the tyres were very much just as hot, if not slightly hotter in occasions than it was last week when we were racing at Tsugo, if I'm not too mistaken, as well as Zhuhai. So they're running very hot temperatures here today. That's not going to be helping them in the slightest, because the Mercedes does not like these hot temperatures. It's like, of course, the Mercedes in F1. It doesn't like the hot temperatures, it likes the cooler temperatures. But right now, we'll see what Friend can do in the background as Gaza is leading from Clark. As one car kicks up a comb, and I think that might have been Scold.
Might have been Scold. Not the first time he's combs.
Yeah, he does like hitting combs. But anyway, Clark, P2 right now, he's sticking with that. You can see Ray Wren stepping out. Ethan there behind with Papano Wolf as well. Good few paces from these two drivers. You see him starting a separate right now. And Ethan was saying, he is right now one of the most experienced drivers in this tier, because technically he's been in Elite now for about, was it 3-4 seasons right now. Everyone else has pretty much come up from lower tier, so he's kind of the veteran right now, and you can see him trying to pressurize there, and Papano's gone too deep, but he'll get away with that because that corner very hard to overtake.
Everybody is taking it pretty easy, but not Skull because he got a penalty actually.
He does do so. We'll have a look at that in a little bit then. But Skull, the first penalty for him, and that's 2 seconds. So track limits obviously there then. Rob Knox is down at P10. He's had a bit of damage, by the way, it looks like, on the front of his car. But doesn't look to be too bad. Ethan should be able to pass the Ferrari here down the straight. It's a very powerful engine, this Mercedes, and I should imagine you have enough torque and enough speed then down towards turn number 1. You should see Papano will have to cover the inside line. Let's see, will he cover? Yeah, he will then. So even forced to go to the outside then. And let's see. And he's done it there, round the outside. Nothing can the Ferrari do. Runs a bit deep though, does Ethan, so that could be an opportunity for him to come back. But at last is not to be, because of course Ethan's a little more experienced there, knows where to park that car. Papano couldn't do it. The Ferrari struggles there. It doesn't have the straight line speed.
It's not over yet though. He's got a good exit through the chicane, I think. He may be in the slipstream. You can try to get him back.
Let's see, it'd be difficult though. Even in the slipstream, that Mercedes, you could see pulling away there in the slipstream. On the brakes, you could see Papano a little more comfortable there. And the Mercedes does not have the best braking ability. It does struggle down there. As in comes Rob Knox meanwhile as well. So he's come in the pits. So we've seen, I think, SBR, Rob Knox as well, Big Kid Daddy down as well. So I think there might be an incident somewhere recently because a few drivers dropped really far down now behind Rosberg, and they've all pitted. Meanwhile, Wolf and Coolvip ahead of Scold right now, and then comes the Bentley of Squads ahead of the Pren in the Ferrari. And then comes Rosberg, the first of the stops. Then Milderman, who of course most likely is going to be following the car ahead as well. Rob Knox, of course, who we believe had damage earlier on as well. Meanwhile, up front, Gaza leads by 9 tenths of a second from Clark in P2.
Skull just picked up a position from Ethan. Ethan has fallen back. I don't know what happened there.
Must have made a mistake.
All the way down to 7th.
Yeah, must have made a mistake probably through the last couple of corners there, whilst we just cut to the leaders. So Ethan, small mistakes. And now, we've seen this before this season, Vectre. Ethan, he's a very quick and consistent, but he does make mistakes sometimes. He's consistent at one thing. He makes mistakes. And he has ironed it out a lot recently, but it's those nagging little issues that he said as well, that if he wants to get on top of, he can be a very good contender. He needs to get on top of these small issues.
Yeah, maybe, I think it's the fact that he cracks under pressure a bit too much still. And you say he's the most experienced, but
yes,
he might have the most races, but there's still a lot to learn for everybody here.
Yeah, you can see the Mercedes is not working there. The back. You've noticed their lines, by the way, so taking a very wide approach into what it is almost used to be the second last corner. I'm wondering what the reason to be there. Most likely to be a better on the traction, of course, but I believe you've done some laps, have you not?
I've actually not done one single lap.
Ah, well, never mind then. This is a circuit that's always difficult. I had a bit of practice. I'm not very good in GT3 cars, so it's a bit hard for me to give you some feedback about the circuit, but I expect right now we're going to see a potential overtake here. Fren, let's see how good is that for the straight line. Well, not that good, it turns out. Let's see, he closes. Are you going to have a lunge on the inside? No, if he doesn't think about it. Not really an opportunity into turn number 1 on the lunge. But, no, if you do that,
well,
though...
Swans goes a bit wide, and Ferrari holding around the outside and takes the position.
Well, never mind then. So he takes a position either way then. Meanwhile, we've got this interesting battle. Now, I like seeing these two back together, and they've not really had too much battling opportunities in their time in Elite recently. They had a bit of a scrap, of course, a couple of weeks ago in the Mon. But as you can see, Skull versus Ethan, Honda versus Mercedes. Now, the Honda's a very quick car in a straight line when it wants to work. The Mercedes is a quick in a straight line everywhere, but it's not good on the brakes. The Honda is. Though Skull, a little bit earlier on the brakes there, he's just taking his line. Ethan probably now trying to size up position. I imagine he'll try it down into turn number 1.
He will definitely try it. In the slipstream, the Mercedes is a beast compared to the Acura.
Let's see though, through the last couple of corners then, Skull just holding his line. Now what you'll see Skull most likely do, he'll pull straight to the inside here and just try and break that toe as much as he can. There you can see he pulls straight to the inside. Now he'll just kind of stay there, force Ethan to choose wisely. And we'll see on board we go then. Is he going to go left? Is he going to go right? He'll force him to go to the inside, then Skull will just give him no opportunity there. Let's see, is Ethan going to go up the inside? Yes, he will. And gets position through then. Nice braking then from Ethan. Scold did not really do much effort there. I put him a bit more of a fight, but Scold that just couldn't do it. So Scold right now doesn't want to battle Ethan too hard, though. Let's see on the exit then, down towards the bottom of the circuit. Let's see.
Why wouldn't he want to battle him?
Let's see how good is that Honda in the slipstream. Can he try and lunge one back up the inside? We know how bad Ethan's been on the brakes here. You can see Skull down on the brakes, down on the brakes, down on the brakes. Thought about it, Ethan had to open the steering up. He won't be best pleased about that one, I imagine. And let's see then, Skull trying to pressurize Ethan now into a small mistake. And it'll be interesting to see if front runs a little bit wide there. Skull does so as well. No time lost or gained from the pair of them. But Ethan now starting to pull away as well.
Yeah, just nothing done wrong from Skull. I don't know why Ethan should not be pleased about that one, because Skull was just showing his nose, showing he's still there. He isn't giving up, and he certainly wants that position back. But I think the Mercedes and Ethan are a bit too strong for it now. And oh, he goes a bit too wide there as well.
Yeah, losing the rear end there.
Battle here. Z4 on Mercedes and Mercedes on Ferrari.
And this will be an interesting freeway scrap then. So Beamer marking Ferrari then. That's always something we like to see. And right now looks like Coolvip's got Wolf's number a little bit right now. He's just kind of trundling behind him.
That was close.
That was a little bit too close. And the number almost was leaked on the floor.
And they're battling.
Yeah, they are battling together. Lenzo Scold again past Ethan. Ethan are most likely another mistake. The Mercedes seems to be overheating its tyres right now.
I think the tyre heating problems are heating up right now for the Mercedes. And Scott, great job for getting by again. We didn't know what exactly happened, but it was a clean move. Good job.
Yeah, whatever happened, it'll be interesting to see what the outcome of that was. I'm imagining Ethan got on the curb into T1, T2, and probably just lost the rear. They could see him putting his lights on and off there, trying to scratch Scold ever so slightly. As I muddle up my words. Either way, though, let's see. I imagine Skull's going to come straight back again. Wolf, meanwhile, miles ahead of Cool because he's come in the pit lane. Yep, he is, so he's bailed out of that one. Thinks might be out of undercut. Now, let's see. Ethan versus Skull, round number 2 down the straight. And let's see Ethan there very wide. Now he's going to try and sliver up the inside. Skull then, he's going to try and cover him then. Here we go, then down towards turn number 1. Is Skull going to put on a block? No, he's not. So, is he going to try hold around the outside then? No, he's not, because Ethan's down on the brakes. He's run too deep. He's locked up. Skull's back through on the outside line, and great racing between these two. Then he brakes far too late, and it's great racing between two arguably very good friends. Although, we always hope that, sorry, they don't end in tears, because we know these two are very passionate.
Definitely, and like I said earlier in this race, the outside line might actually be the better one of the two, and this actually proves because you have to be so hard on the brakes.
Let's go, covering the inside, even trying on the brakes, then laying on the brake, down the inside, can he get the car stopped there? Squeezes, spins, off, he's spun it, he's done it again! He's done it again, that's the second time he's done it a few times before, laid on the brakes, the car switches around, and off he goes. Another high-profile mistake there, battling there on the brakes. Scold covered it, Ethan there. And Scold, you're never going to go up the inside there like that. Scold, fair play to him. Gave him the space. Ethan just hit the curb too hard there and spun the car straight around.
Yeah, I think he wanted a bit too much there because it would have been just better to wait on the straight because the Mercedes would have gotten him anyway. A bit too eager there, but unfortunately for him, it cost a lot of time. Papano and Wolf now are still battling it out into turn 1.
Yeah, they are battling extremely hard as Papano runs a bit wide there.
Pren and Scott, Pren is getting closer now. I think Scott has also lost some time there.
Scott has done so though, so he's dropped down. Ethan's in the pit lane meanwhile, so he's gone for an undercut then on the car ahead of Scott and everyone else, of course. So he's hoping he'll come out. Let's see, he'll come out. Yeah, behind Rosberg. So Rosberg's absolutely done and dusted him.
That's a really good strategy from him, but of course the mistake Ethan made, that's gonna
right down.
That's gonna cost him and drop him back really, really far because he's still in the pit lane. This agonizingly long pit lane, it never seems to end.
Yeah, the longest pit lane, I might ask, in the entire season, of course, because it does run Indianapolis Motor Speedway, of course. It is the Indy 500 pit lane in reverse, remember? So that is why it goes on for about 1 million years, because, well, IndyCar has a lot of cars, and, oh dear, Squirrel's running wide, and that's a common trend we're seeing. Cars making mistakes on the brakes, as Wolf comes in now, probably to react to his teammate, and I think everyone else is coming in. Scold's in. I imagine we'll be seeing anyone else then.
It'll be interesting. Who will have the faster pit stop, Ethan or Scott? And where will Ethan rejoin? The two SBR guys, just like in qualifying, still together.
11 of 42. Ethan, that's another small mistake, by the way. Yeah, Rob Noxious, he has already pitted. Yes, he has. Ethan seems not comfortable right now with the car. He made another mistake there. He was about 6 seconds ahead of Rob Noxious, it looked like earlier on. Now he's right with him, and I'm looking at the timing screen there and looking at the telemetry. There you can see the SBR guys coming through the last corner here. So Wolf should come out ahead. Skull will come out behind the SBR guys then. So let's be very close between Wolf and the SBR of Milderman then. Let's see, these two have had a little bit of a entourage recently, and I think Wolf just ahead. Yes, he is then ahead of Milderman, ahead of Cool Vip. And they're ahead of Big Kid Daddy right now. He's yet to stop. Behind them, Scold, and then Squelch, who's in the car, and he's come out very close there with Ethan there.
And Ethan.
And Squelch comes out just behind Ethan right now.
That's what Ethan needed, because if he was behind that Bentley and behind that, well, behind the Bentley only because he was already in front of the other Mercedes. But if he was in front of, if he was behind Swans, that will cost him even more time because he would have to make a position again.
Indeed, but still, look, dropped now. He's about 4 seconds behind Scott, so the race is on now for Ethan. Can he catch his former teammate? And the crucial thing is, look, does he not make another mistake? Because once you start making mistakes, Vector, in these races, it's very hard not to get out of the habit.
Definitely, it will hurt your confidence as well when you're driving. Like if you make a mistake in one corner, the next lap you will think your unconsciousness. You will take it a bit more easy, a bit more careful. That may actually cause new mistakes, or it will make you a lot slower. So one mistake can really ruin your race. In fact.
Meanwhile, though, Gaza leads this race for 5 seconds now, ahead of Clark in P2. Meanwhile, there you can see Ethan, Squaltz, and Rob Noxious there, all battling together down the brakes there. The Bentley, the Mercedes, and the other Mercedes behind, of course, the Honda of Sculpey. Kid Daddy right now also yet to stop, I believe. But right now, Rosberg, P5, this undercut, getting free air has really worked for him, hasn't it? He's been setting, 24.6. He's the quickest driver on the circuit by far. It's a long stop. I think he's got a shout of coming out ahead of Gaza when he comes in, as long as he doesn't make a mistake.
I was just about to say, he has the chance to come out in the lead because the gap is, let's say, 40 seconds. The pit lane takes definitely longer than 40 seconds. We have to keep track of it. I do not know how much it actually takes, but it takes 40 seconds or even more. But he's dropping time to Gasser now because Gasser is now putting on the throttle, so I think his stop will come soon. We're only on lap 14 out of 42 though. Most people will make their pit stop at the halfway mark, which is lap 24. So maybe we'll see Gasser in between now and 10 laps.
Well, we'll find out, of course, but anything can happen between now and when the checkered flag falls. Remember, we're only on lap 14. We've got almost 27-ish laps to go here out of the drivers, and a long old race this is. It feels a little longer sometimes. Of course, the field's spread out a lot more than last week, so this circuit proving to be a little more interesting to see. But right now, in terms of the championship, Gaza very much has opened the championship up a lot more if it finishes like this, because right now Rosberg would be a P2 technicality, maybe a P3, who knows. It's hard to see what the gap is right now between all these drivers. All I know is right now Romnox is trying to get past Walt, and let's see, down the straight, Beamer versus Bentley. Sorry, Mercedes versus Bentley, and I think should be an easy move. Let's see, right? Does he go around the outside? Bentley's always good on the brakes, though, so they'll cover it.
How good must those brakes be for to stop that weight?
Never mind.
Oh, it's off!
And
there's a pig off there.
Not what you want to see. That's the same place Ethan goes off, and earlier on. And I have to say, when you go in that gravel vector, it's never very nice. It's very bumpy and rough, and it's very easy to make mistakes.
Yeah, it really is. I think, I don't know if that mistake was comparable with Ethan's mistake. I think Swan steered a lot more speed than Ethan did, and like the problem in that corner isn't understeer necessarily, but if you hit that curb, indeed, the car could just spin around into the gravel, and he was well into the gravel, so it carried a bit too much speed there, a bit too eager to get the position off of Rob.
Indeed.
Now,
yeah, Milderman
and Wolf are now still close together. The gap is about 1 second.
Yeah, 1 second. So let's see what they can do. These two drivers, as well as everyone else, a very competitive field. And Milderman said Ethan is a lot better than Wolf, etc. Recently, we've heard. And right now, Milderman behind Wolf. And last time out, when we were in Sugo, Wolf put a very aggressive maneuver. Really showed Milderman why Wolf is an aggressive attacker, and he is not going to be one to be told. He is not the best driver, and he is definitely a growing talent. He's a karting racer as well as quite a few of the drivers here like karting in real life. Wolf, a very skilled driver, and especially in real life, actually, that can really help you in terms of in-game performance.
Definitely, you learn a lot from it, even in your subconsciousness. I don't know how much this game is compared to real life, because of course this is a racing sim, and I race on a controller, so it's not that representative. But maybe on a wheel, it can become quite close to reality. So it may actually give him an advantage here.
Yeah, and vice versa, of course. He can take the skills he does from karting and use it in here as well, as he very much knows how to defend our position. But right now he is currently in P6, just under a second ahead of the fellow car of Milderman. Behind them, by the way, Cool Vip as well. He's currently in P8 right now. He's getting caught by Big Kid Daddy a little bit, and Big Kid Daddy, the daddy of them all. Sometimes he's been around for about 1 million years, like a dinosaur. Sometimes. He's currently just crawling his way around 9th position right now, stalking his prey from afar, and let's see what he can do. He's currently 4 tenths down. Last lap time with a 1:25.8. He's about a second almost. So half a second, give or take, 6-7 tenths quicker than Colbert. So he is catching now quite a bit. Meanwhile, Rob Noxious has caught right back up score to score right back up to Rob Knox, I say. Really?
No, that's Gasser actually who slapped him.
My apologies. So, never mind then. So that is your leader who has just lapped Squelch, and meanwhile, there you can see Wolf and Milderman.
Milderman not finding a way to get closer to Wolf here. Wolf is fending off so good that he actually hasn't been able to put an attack on yet.
He's just kind of holding the position right now. They're kind of bouncing off each other in terms of their timings, etc. They just do not seem to be able to find that ideal gap, that point where one is a lot quicker than the other.
Yo-yoing it's called. It's kind of like fluctuating the time, not asking too much from your tires, not asking too much from your own abilities, but still keeping someone behind you.
We'll find out.
I think Wolf has got a lot more pace than this.
We'll find out, of course, what can happen. These two, very good. There you can see Big Kid Daddy. The gap now 2.2 behind them. Skull, meanwhile, his last lap was a 1:25.4, so he's lapping 4 tenths quicker than the car ahead. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do. Meanwhile, we're having a look at Rosberg, 24.7. He's again
by the way,
up
24.7.
Yeah, he's really flying right now.
He can drive 24/7s, 24/7.
Yeah, he can do so. But anyway, let's find out. We are coming up to half distance here. That means we're on lap 18 of 42, with 42 still to come. And Rosberg in P5, Wolf in P6, ahead of Milderman and Kulvep.
Milden definitely a bit closer now, or is it just an illusion? I think it's just an illusion. I think it's still the same gap as before. Yeah, let's see if he can still get something out of the Lamborghini and try to challenge the BMW. BMW? Oh no, I've done the same thing as you. Mercedes, I should say. I don't know why BMW is in my head.
I don't know.
The only BMW here is... oh, he actually made a... Did he cut the chicane there?
Looked like he made a small mistake there. He didn't lose or gain any time, but yeah, right now, you've got to say, in terms of pressure right now for Wolf, you've got to be kind of feeling it, seeing a car just sit there behind. How do you go around just seeing a car just sit there, closing up ever so slightly, but then just staying there?
Especially with those colors, you should really think like, oh, there's a car behind me, I should really put the power on. But I do think Wolf isn't that fussed right now, because he knows he can have him, and he knows his pace is good enough to keep him behind. They're both doing 1:25.5s, while the leaders are currently going into the 24. So they're advancing their pace. I think Gasser is readying to make his stop because he's now lapping way faster than he did before. And yeah, but everyone actually quite consistently in the 25s, and it's really good to see that on race pace everybody is quite close to each other.
Meanwhile, Ethan and Skull separated now by 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Ethan's sold that, by the way. 1:26 dead, so he's had a mistake somewhere because he is, I think, the second slowest car that last lap. So struggling again. Ethan does seem to be getting the best out of that Mercedes right now. He's down in P11. We're expecting a few people to come in the pit lane, potentially ahead, but it's quite interesting, isn't it, in terms of where everyone's going to pit, because
it's going to be corner cuts.
Yeah,
let's actually see. Still 2 seconds, so he hasn't made more mistakes. But if he keeps doing that, that will certainly give him corner cut penalties.
Now, right now, he's kind of Skull got himself into eagle eye vision right now. He's concentrating very much on catching and then passing as Wolf, big slide, and he caught it there. And I don't know how he's done that one, but that was a phenomenal save from Wolfman. That's not going to do his tyres very good, but how do you catch that? That was out of control, and he very much shows himself his skill there. That would have, certainly I would have dropped that in real life, or if I was trying to drive that.
But this gives Milden a really good chance now on the straights. He cannot do anything, but look in the corners how much he catches up, how much more pace he's got than Wolf. If Wolf does that one more time, it's Milden who takes up the position.
Indeed it will be. Well, let's find out, of course, what they do. Meanwhile, in the background, you can still see Cool Vip, Big Kid Daddy, and then Scold, all very close together as well. Well, except for about 3-4 seconds between all of them. Right now, look, Mildeman's kind of... Do you think he's going to be frustrated right now? He's kind of stuck behind Wolf, or do you think right now this is his legit pace?
I think he's definitely a bit frustrated, especially because Wolf made a mistake earlier. He really smelled his chance there. He really felt like, oh yes, this is my chance. I can get past now, but still not able to get past yet. But anyway, that Mercedes is too strong on the straight, so you cannot out-drag him to get into the corner. So he has to do it in some of the corners, maybe sector 2.
Yeah, most likely down in sector 2. It's a good point, you know, Batcher. It's easy to try and sliver on up the inside there, but then again, it's going to be difficult. So we'll find out if he can get past. But right now, Wolf holding the position. Scott, meanwhile, has got that gap up a little more to Ethan, about 3-4 seconds now, even 5. So Ethan, again, made another mistake that last couple of laps. Those lap times this time around, very consistently close. So, those two, pacing very consistently. Behind them, by the way, Obnoxious not very far. Yeah, Obnoxious isn't too far away either, only 2 seconds behind Ethan. So, it's a real surprise, and I'm wondering, has Ethan got any damage or something that we don't know about, or some technical issue?
I do not think it's damage, because I haven't seen him hit anything. He did fall back one time, and we didn't quite catch what happened there, so it might have been contact with someone. But I don't think it's damage, because he also pitted after that. I think it's just maybe a setup issue, or just not feeling confident in the car, just not feeling well. It can be multiple things.
Meanwhile, by the way,
and Milden are getting close again. That's really the point where Milden is much stronger. I think sector 3 is where Milden wants to try it now, because you can see he's a lot quicker there.
Difficulty is though, if you make a move here, then you've got this very long straight, which that Mercedes is very good at. Meanwhile, by the way, Rosberg made a mistake in the last lap, by the way. He was set at 127, now set at 124, but he dropped down 2 seconds there last time I saw. It was 42 seconds. Now he's back to 40, so it's bubbling around that window. So a small mistake. But now he has to close back up again and try and get back in that window. Wolf cuts the chicane ever so slightly, but I think he'll get away with it. But right now, Vetro, very much a processional race. There is not really any side-by-side moments to say right now, is there? It's very just one by one. And that's the thing about this circuit.
Waiting for the... We are... no, it's not the circuit actually, it's just a phase in the race. We're just waiting for everybody to make the pit stop.
They already have done quite a lot of that pit stops, of course. So, we're just waiting for really the top 4 to come in.
That's where the real fireworks starts, but if Jan doesn't make any more mistakes, because now the gap is 42 seconds and it was 40 before. So he is dropping back a little bit, even though his last lap was a little bit faster than... Oh, it's back up to 40 again.
Yeah,
well, thank you, timing screen.
The timing's
But anyway,
great.
Gasser still needs to stop, and it will be really interesting to see. That's where the fireworks start. Where will Gasser come out compared to Jan Rosberg?
Now, if I was Rosberg right now, I'd be considering pitting very soon, because look at the amount of cars. If the pace is gone right now, well, last lap 24 compared to what everyone else, 25, 26, he's taking a second out of them a lap. So, if I was the leader, I'd be very considered to pit now, because you're going to end up getting yourself in all this traffic, which is not going to be ideal. And we know and have seen before that some of the traffic do not get out of the way as easily.
I don't really think that's too much of a concern, because these drivers don't really have a view on what the gap is between him and other drivers. This is something you miss in real life racing. You don't really have a pit engineer who tells you what the gap is and what is a good place to pit. I think they'll just follow their own strategy and hope they don't come out in traffic, because they cannot know where everybody is on track.
Meanwhile, these two still battling together, still about 3-4 attempts separated them, like they have been this entire race, which is fantastic and fascinating to see. Who is going to come out on top between Mildeman and Wolf? Right now, Wolf, he's just holding his line. Nothing as Mildeman being able to pressurize him. He made one mistake earlier on in the race. And since then, he's just relatively been bulletproof, as he's not really cracked too much under pressure. He's holding his line. And right now, Wolfie has got another, what, 18 laps to go? Can he hold 18 more laps? But for Mildeman, right now, he's showing a world-class talent! And up the inside! Never mind, that was a desperate dive, in my opinion. I don't know who that was trying from Mildeman.
You know, Evil, you questioned earlier, is he frustrated he's behind Wolf?
Yeah.
Yes, that was a move out of frustration. He wants to get past. And he smelled his chance there, but a bit too eager there. It was a bit of a weird angle. Maybe Wolf didn't leave enough space. Maybe Milden just came in too hot. It's hard to say. But anyway, Milden wants to get past. That's one thing for sure.
Well, I was about to say, how long can he keep him behind? Well, right now, has that damaged Wolf, I'm wondering? Because that was a heavy hit.
That was really. There was a side-on impact, and the cars don't take on side-on damage that much on this game.
Right now,
Milden, he wants to get a move on.
Mildeman wants to try and make a move. He's going to try out the inside. And Mildeman frustrated now. He's trying to force Wolf off. And this here is dangerous scenarios here because this is not really a place to overtake. He's trying it left. He's trying it right. He knows he needs to get past. But Wolf...
I think he tries to compromise his straight line speed a bit. Maybe that's a really smart move from him. But he's trying to dive bomb Wolf now. Let's just hope it will not end in tears.
Yeah, let's see, of course. This is the area of the circuit where Wolf has been struggling into this area of the circuit. On board we go with Mildeman. This is the corner where we saw their contact. You can see Wolf. Small mistake there. Wiggling on the car. Does not seem as comfortable right now. And he's probably, Wolf right now, a little bit frustrated seeing that car dive on the inside in a place it shouldn't really have had an opportunity to. It was a very do-or-die move, in my opinion. That was a very strange place to try it. Could have worked, didn't do so because of how far back he came.
He came from really, really far back. Wolf didn't even expect him to be there, so even if he turned in, I don't really think you can put much blame on Wolf there because he just kept his line and he just came out of nowhere.
Let's see, like down on the brakes. Mildeman still trying. You can see him closing right up now as Wolf there changes his line. Has a slight small mistake on the rear. This is where Mildeman's been trying to make a mistake from Wolf. There you can see Wolf takes a brilliant line there. He really just cut Mildeman there a line that Mildeman should follow because that line was beautiful. Compromised him on the exit load, but we know how good that straight line speed of the Mercedes really is today. And lead times, well, they're 125.7, 125.8. They're losing almost half a second a lap right now to Corvette because these two are starting a battle.
Also really astonishing, well not really astonishing, but really interesting. Gasser actually is now on lap 26. He still hasn't stopped it yet. Yeah. I thought maybe, well, on the halfway mark of this race, they will mostly get a stop on lap 21, I presume. But now with lap 27, is still not thinking about pitting.
Yeah, the last couple of races, he's pitted around about lap 36 normally. He pitched very like the last 5-6 laps, so most likely going to try that again. So he's been a master doing that. My opinion, it really does set pit window sometimes because that really just tighten the field up.
But the earlier you stop, the more laps you have at the end to defend or fight for the lead. If you come out just in front, you don't want extra laps. You don't want extra chance to be given to other drivers to get past.
Vice versa, if you end up getting overtaken, there we go, he's going to have a long time on the inside, there we go, he's nudged him this time. So now they're making contact, it's the second time, and there was never really an opportunity in my opinion there. Wolf had the corner, and again Mildeman trying, and this is frustration, and I fear, Vectro, this might not end well.
Don't bring the doom scenarios here. It's looking like Milden is getting really frustrated now. He wants Wolf to let him pass now because he got so much potential pace, and Wolf is not letting him by at all. Of course, that's not what racing is. He has to put him into position. This is what we like to see. This is what we tune in to watch in this racing. and this is, well, quite interesting racing. Not really something you see that often, but brings up some good entertainment.
Well, bing bong, you might have a go then. Let's see, like, Motorman struggles with straight line speed, and it'd be good to see if all these cars were equal in terms of straight line speed, what the actual pace would have been between those two cars, because it'd be interesting. Right now, Wolf's got the straight line speed, but he hasn't got the cornering, and that's the crucial thing. I'd like to see these cars are varied, because Motorman has that cornering ability, it seems, very much on the brakes as well. We've seen how bad the Mercedes has been on the brakes in the last couple of the races. And again, here into this last couple of corners. Maybe. No, he's not going to do it this time. Yet. Wolf covers off the inside a lot more aggressively. And right now for Wolf as well, he's going to be feeling a lot more aggressive as well, looking back, defending. So this is just going to build up in a good exit. Now. He's got a good exit here. Let's see though. Now you'll see the gap. It'll start opening up very much in, even in the slipstream. That just shows how good that Merc is. You can see on the brakes.
How close he's been though.
How close he's been. Really needs to be about 1-2 tenths behind, then try to sliver on up the inside when Wolf's really wide. But you can see here, it just doesn't have
the even
pace.
Also, we're catching up again.
Those two catching as well. That'd be interesting to see. These two having a battle as well right now. Battle for Wolf and Motorman. Battle between Scold and Ethan as well as potentially a battle between Jan and Pren, actually, as I noticed they're getting closer together as well. About 3-2 seconds separated them, so we'll keep an update on those two. But right now, the real talking point of this race is between Milderman and Wolf, especially in this stage of the race with on 14-15 laps still ahead of the drivers. And it's turning into quite a race between everyone right now.
Pren and Jan indeed really close together. Jan wants to get past Pren as soon as possible. Actually, really surprised that Pren is in 4th position. That's really an astonishingly well position for Pren there. Really good job. And actually as well for Clark in P2. Really good position for him as well.
Do you mention that? Yeah, they've been really... the Pren, of course, in the McLaren as the cameraman has a bit of a wiggle down the straight there, but nonetheless...
I think it's getting colder on track.
You might have a bit of a cold, yes. It might be a bit cold. He's getting the shivers on. But someone give him a towel, maybe a jumper. But nonetheless, down they come into these first couple of corners again. Right now, 5 tenths separated them, behind them as well. I'm just keeping update as well visually in terms of the timing screen between Scold, Ethan, as well as partner and Rosberg. And actually, yes, so Rosberg's actually ahead of Pren now, so we've missed that. So Pren's made a mistake, I feel, actually, Vetcho, because he's dropped really far down.
Yeah. Massive mistake there.
So he must have.
But that's what Jan needed, though, because oh, this is not what he needs. Because he needs to get in within the pit delta of Gasser. We don't know what the pit delta is, but
it's something.
We don't know if it's inside or outside the pit delta, but he's certainly close.
Meanwhile, this is another close. Is he going to think? He thought about it. And you can see, right now, all he's doing right now, trying to lunge, trying to find a position like this, is just costing him time. Because look behind, they're catching each other much behind. Because look, last lap we'll check now. 125.2, 125.5. So then again, they are actually, fair play, they're pulling away from Coolvip. Meanwhile, these two are getting closer together and they're catching up there.
26-0 even. Not good enough.
25.7 right now from Skull.
8 tenths slower than his teammate, even though he's battling. It's astonishing.
Real surprise. Meanwhile, these two still battling at it. And we like to see. Up front, meanwhile, though, it is 11-second lead that Gaz has got from Clark. The partner in P3, Rosberg. Ahead of Pren. Then comes this battle here, Wolf. Milder, then comes Coolvip, Big Kid Daddy, ahead of Scold, Ethan, Rob Noxious, and then comes Squelch.
Also a tiny little better for 12th position on track. They've met each other before on track here, but let's see. No, it's going to be really tough to keep track on 3 battles at the same time. I hope everything will be will be saved on camera as well as possible.
Well, right now, of course, it's these two that are showing the show down the straight. Wolf a little bit wide that time around, but again, he'll get away with it due to the straight line speed of that Mercedes as well. Meanwhile, these two, they're a bit separated as well, about a second between them. They're getting caught now by Gaza. I believe, is that Gaza, your leader, coming up to lap them? I think it might be.
I think it is. I think it is actually Evil.
Yeah,
yep,
it is.
So even is about to get lapped. Well, actually, Gaza hasn't pitted yet, so yeah. But still, though, this is not what Ethan wants. He's down in 11th position now, and this is not the position he wants. Not at all.
Very much is not where you want to be. Down 11 when your teammates in P6. Really showing up right now, and it proves right now because Wolf, I believe, will be, I think, still P3 in the championship, if my calculations are correct. Going off the sudden just maths in my head, he'll pull the gap to Ethan quite a lot. But I think Gaza right now will almost, might even have a 50, maybe almost 60-point lead, give or take. And Milderman closing up. Still 3 attempts to gap. He needs that down to about 2 attempts. Maybe even less. He thinks about the lines up the inside. He never hit the corner. That was very late move. And I think Wolves wants to come straight back there. Milderman laid on the brakes. Shoved, in my opinion, out of the way.
This is a fair move because you saw Wolf turned into his normal line. He saw Milderman coming. I think this is a fair move. But now, Wolf in the slipstream with Mercedes power. He's certainly going to get the position back, or at least going to have a try.
Let's see, Wolf's not going to fight it, that. But let's see. It runs a bit deep. Now, Milderman has to try and break away immediately because that Lamborghini is not quick in a straight line. We know Wolf is quick in a straight line, and Wolf's going to come and attack very quick. And we'll see what he can do. Right now, about 4 attempts to gap. Milderman a bit wide. If it's gone off. And has he collided with Scott? I think he has.
I think they have collided there.
And Scott losing the rear. Has he got damage? Potentially. They've come together. Now that might be the first time we've seen contact between them. We missed it. But it seems something was odd there because even we saw him lighting the rears up. Something had happened between those two. I'm wondering what it was, but we'll find out most likely after the race. But either way,
right. I did see Scott flashing his lights and not Ethan, so that might have. Well, it's hard to say. Still, it's Ethan is still trying on the brakes there. Scott is not happy. You can see it in his driving style. I know him quite well. In his driving style, you can see he's not happy with whatever that just happened.
Oh.
Ethan is certainly going to get him back there on the straight.
Right up the rear end. That was almost contact right now. There we go, down the straight. Is Wolf Skull going to cover? Is he going to force him to the outside line then? Let's see Ethan. Has he got the straight line speed? I think Skull's going to just slam on the brakes as hard as he can and try and force Ethan no way through that. Now he covers him off this time. So now these two are going to battle together. This is what we like to see. Two rivals, friends, enemies are fighting together. Ethan thinks about up the inside there. No place through there. And let's see. Down they come. Over those curves. Ethan will have a nice long straight line speed. So Skull will have to cover the left. You'll have to go left. Force Ethan to go on the outside line. Ethan's going to go up the inside. Lay on the brakes. He can't do it there. Has to back off. Skull takes his normal racing line through that. This is great stuff to see. Holding the position right now, and Ethan will technically get that position counting on penalty if they remain like they are.
Skull a bit wide there. This is Ethan's chance.
Not really a place to come up the inside though. Skull forced to go wide, and let's see, is Ethan going to sliver on up the inside, or is Skull going to try back? No, he can't do so then. So those two switch positions again, and Skull now has to try and get and overtake a Mercedes in a straight line, which is not really going to be very easy.
Impossible. It's almost impossible to get close to the Mercedes on the straight, so I think this battle is over for now, but at least in the corners there must still be a chance. And Wolf and Milden still going at it as well.
They're close together on the brakes. I mean, how Ethan's been struggling down there all race long. So, you can see, look, gets the car turned in this time around. Skull very much more quicker in these fast corners. But still, though, only 9th and 10th position for the pair of them. And that's going to be disappointing. Fred, meanwhile, did come in the pit lane. He's down in 11th. So that really shows how far back he dropped. And just being a question, Vetro, when the leader comes in, I honestly don't think that Rosberg might just have that window right now to come out in the lead.
That's 40 seconds. There's been 40 seconds, around 38, 40, 42 seconds consistently. So if he's not now, he would have been in the first place. But I don't think he's dropped too much time, so I think he still has pretty darn good chance, because this pit lane is hell of a lot long, and I think it's longer than 40 seconds, so I think he's got a good chance here. But who knows, it might be 35 seconds, he might still be behind Gasser. All we can just do now is wait till the Gasser pits and see if we are right or wrong.
Well, right now, 13 seconds between him and Clark. Meanwhile, Wolf and Milderman, they're 8 times separated. Now Milderman's starting to open that gap up a little bit more right now after an rather ding-dong battle. A bit of contact was made, and well, sometimes that can happen, of course, and I think it was very aggressive, but fair. But we'll see what happens, of course, afterwards. See, look, these two still getting close together, 4, 5 tenths separated, so Scott, if he can just try and find himself a bit more time as he makes a mistake and he takes the drag strip down there, which is not ideal. If he could try and find himself a bit more pace and try and battle Ethan again, that'd be great. But Ethan right now, we know how good he is.
Well, on the straight lines, definitely, and in the corners, it's Skull who has the better edge. But on the straights, it just pulls away too much, so you cannot get close enough to battle anymore. So I do think this battle is over for now. But who knows? A small mistake for Ethan can kick it up again.
Likewise, if Milderman makes a small mistake as well, you can see really on board here, and you can just see the gap there was about 8 tenths to begin with. It's already taken 1, 2, 3 tenths out. So if Wolf can get within about 4 tenths, you'll have a good chance down into turn number 1.
If he only gets a good exit, or if Mulder gets a bad exit like he just did, the chances are all open. It's still not over yet.
It's not over yet, but we'll find what can happen. Meanwhile, 39 seconds now. Rosberg's got that gap down. Now, if I was Gaza, surely you've got to want to come in now. Because if you don't, and you come up behind, you've got very little amount of laps to try and battle.
Yeah, definitely. If he actually he doesn't know what the gap is between Jan. He probably already forgot about Jan because he dropped back to 5th earlier in the race. So maybe he's all forgotten about it. Maybe he doesn't even know he could potentially overtake him.
Yeah, indeed. Meanwhile, Wolf and Milder still close together, about 4 or 5 tenths separating them there. So we're going to see down the straight what those two can do. But meanwhile, we're looking at Ethan and Skull. And those two close together as always. That's 6 tenths separated there. So not really too close enough again.
Gasser.
Now he comes in the pit lane. So I think he heeded my warning there. And I think he's thinking...
Pren is falling back. Where's Pren?
He pitted.
Pren has fallen back a lot. Oh, he just... Yeah, he lost position to Rob as well.
He has, yes. So he must have made another mistake somewhere there. In comes Gaza, stops on his mark. 15 litres, allowed to go to the end of the race, of course. Now we're looking down to where is Rosberg.
He's gonna get him, I think. Definitely, because the pit lane is still so long. He's surely gonna get him.
It's gonna be close.
I don't even think it will be close. I think Jan has got him.
I think he should just. It'll be very interesting to see that. I think he might just come out ahead, you know. It's going to be close. It's going to be very close. He'll now get all the power now. Now he has to go Now to be close down towards turn number 1 then. He'll be on the inside line. You'll see him. And he is just ahead. Through into the lead then. Rosberg leads here in Indianapolis Motor Circuit then. And that is what they wanted.
A masterful strategy for Gian. So far, he's back into the lead again. The technical lead. Because, of course, Clark and Papano still has got to stop.
And now
we've got
Gaz is going to have to
really
try.
good battle on our hands.
Gaz is going to have to try. Rosberg immediately makes a small mistake right now. Now he's going to have pressure on his tail. The utmost pressure at all. There you can see the other battles going through the field. Let's have a look at the top 2 meanwhile. This is the battle we're wanting to see with 4 laps to go here in Indianapolis.
Clark as well.
Yep, Clark in now, so he should come out. Probably, I imagine, he'll come out in between 4th and 5th. So he'll get away with that one. What an interesting strategy that was. Rosberg.
It was masterful, it paid off.
Gaza late, and now this is what I feared. Gaza, if you feared earlier, he very much could have come out ahead because that gap started to drop very quickly in the last couple of laps.
Yeah, the earlier he stopped, maybe... well, he didn't know, of course. He probably already forgot about Jan. Maybe, I don't know. Cameraman. But anyway, what I wanted to say was that Milden is actually pulling back from Wolf more, and even Scott still close together. Papano and Clark coming out of the pits. But anyway, Jan, really early pit stop. It's really worked getting out of the dirty air of other cars, and from 5th to 1st in technicality as well, because he lost so much on the start, and pitting earlier kind of undid that bad start.
I mean, well, look, Gaza is doing well. Now, what Gaza needs to do is just try and not make a mistake and close up. He is driving, of course, the car that Schmidt and Infect both took to multiple victories last season, and right now he is again looking to try and take that Mercedes to a back-to-back championship. But right now he needs to try and beat Rosberg, though Rosberg is not in the championship fight, although I think Gaza right now very much would like to be ahead.
Even if Gaza gets second, he will jump up massively in the championship even more because of Wolf's and Even's finishing position as of now.
I will find out. Gaza through turn number 1 they come then with Rosberg just ahead. Mildeman and Wolf have now got that gap to over a second, so those two starting to separate. Ethan and Scold have got that to 3 seconds after their battle earlier on, but right now with 2 and a bit laps to go then here today. Gaza, Rosberg, they're coming up to lap, I believe that might be that Scold Ethan battle potentially.
Might be Swans.
It might be Scrolled, yeah, you might be right there. Scrolled, Pren and Rob Noxious, yes you are correct. So I should get away with it. So that's it. Down on the brakes, here we come. Rosberg land coming through to begin that 41 of this 42 lap race. We're on that 40 right now. And now we come through the last corner to begin the penultimate, but not last, lap of this race. And right now, Gaza has to be dreading and has to be kicking himself. If he pitted maybe a lap or 2 earlier, he may have had more of a chance. But never say never. Anything still happen, Vetcho, in the last couple of laps.
But of course, maybe if he pitted earlier, he could also get stuck in traffic as well. So you never know what would have happened if he pitted earlier. It's all just a momentary moment, actually. Just
ifs, buts, and what?
You don't have the telemetry and the strategy guys you have in real life racing.
Yeah.
But you all do it on your own, and you do not know where the gaps are and where and who you're battling. You all gotta try and figure that out for yourself.
Here we go then, through into the last couple of corners then to begin the last lap. 41 whole racing laps were completed today. We're now on the 42nd lap coming up in a few moments for your top two. 15 seconds separating them from third position. Fourth, a further 23 seconds off. They got caught up a little bit with Mildeman right now since he's dropped Wolf now ever so slightly. Very close though between fourth down to about 8th place. They're all separated by just over 10 seconds there. So very good stuff to see. That's that gaggle of cars you can see coming through the last couple of corners. Here we go then. Last lap then. Gaza really needs some miracle to happen right now if he's going to win. But then again, if Rosberg wins, it'll be very much redemption for qualifying where he got penalised. Drop down from the start.
He's going quicker than his best lap delta right now.
He's flying around, so he's going for fastest lap potentially right at the end. 24.3 the last lap, so he very much looks like he is going to be fastest lap in this race. Coming up to the back of the Bentley. He has the chicane to do. And he does the chicane then. That's the first tricky section. Now he's got the banking. And then the last 2-3 corners. And you can see him here. He'll probably be taking a nice in courses out, but he is going quicker. He's opening the gap more and more and more. And now all he has to do, through the last couple of corners, not make a mistake. Through the last then, into the right. Here comes Rosberg. People thought he might have thrown it away when he switched from the Porsche to the Audi. He struggled last time out. He didn't finish. And he is winner. Finally again in GT3 Elite. Gaza across the line P2. And he's going to be feeling very much surprised and shocked. Clark, the Lamborghini then. Third position. He does what he needs to do. And crosses the line miles ahead of Papano, the Ferrari though. Fair play here in Indianapolis where I thought he would have been struggling. Papano is going to finish in P4. Good job for them. Mildeman
as well, another podium for him.
5th. Wolf P6.
So Wolf not able to get the position of Milden.
And
trying to do a flick spin, not fast enough to flip it over.
Cool, there in
Wolf
P7.
in 7th position.
Big Kid
Big
Daddy.
Kid Daddy. And there comes Ethan in a really disappointing 9th. I don't know what went wrong today.
And I think
he's
that
not
might
happy
be,
with it either.
Yeah, he's not going to be happy. And I feel Scold might have a bit of an accident any second.
Might have. Oh, he will have.
And across into turn number 1 they come. Meanwhile, we're waiting for Rob Knox's Pren and Squelch to finish, of course, as a great race. And I have to say, though, for Ethan, he's going to be feeling very much confused. There can see Wolf doing some donuts there as well. But what a intriguing race. So, Rosberg wins here in Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. Then from Gaza, Clark in P3 from Papano. Mildeman beat Wolf for P5 and 6. Colvip in P7 had a Big Kid Daddy. Ethan and Skull disappointed in P9 and P10.
And as well, Jan Rosberg also racks up the fastest lap at 1:24 dead. If you look at the best lap for everybody, you see how close everybody actually was to each other. I mean, in terms of race pace, everybody was not giving too much to each other, and that's really great to see. Scott, by the way, ended up with a 4-second penalty, pushing a bit too hard on track limits. Anyway, this has been a really good race. And as well, Gasser also had a 1-second penalty. We kind of missed that.
We did right at the end there, so surprising there. But no driver interviews today, Vectro. There's none of them here. But nonetheless, from what was a fantastic race here in Indianapolis, in 7 days, we go to Fuji, don't we, if I'm not mistaken?
Yep, Fuji indeed.
A circuit which I love, and it most likely will be raining. Until next week, from Evil Dragon XXL, myself, and Vectro is Vectro. I've been Evil, Vector's been Vectro. Until next time, join us for AOR. Take care. Goodbye.